Hey guys, I just had a really special experience. I just posted the picture of this animal on my YouTube channel just like a second ago. So please admire that picture because this is an animal, and I a little at first look I thought it was maybe a juvenile lunar moth, but I made sure my research and what I'm telling you all is accurate because it is. And I made sure I did research on what kind of moth this was, and I was incredibly blown away. Because my other research or really moth I thought it was like a fully grown brown tail moth, but brown tail moths when they go through metamorphosis, they're very small. This is a moth that is common to see in North America, but it's not a moth you would despite really this what this moth resembles and like how animals other than like dogs and cats can like come the next day you experience cycles of change. Or really when you're trying to look for enlightenment. um but this moth resembles being basically being enlightened, being very incredibly patient, but also cycling through change. And many people in life are going to cycle through change differently. But this just shows you that, and I encourage anybody who, because when you see an animal like this that symbolizes something through ancient history, it's really cool. And it's going to happen when it's unexpected. I didn't know that moth was out there on the deck until I went out with Thor. But originally I thought it was maybe a juvenile lunar moth. But I researched and it said that lunar moths are typically a yellow greenish color. And then I researched the brown-tailed moth, which are the ones that cause those irritating rashes, and those are much smaller. This moth was very interesting, and this shows you that like when anything isn't the way you want it to be, we all of us have to cycle through change. But this moth came unexpectedly, and the fact that animals know what change, this is proven through like animals don't communicate, they can't talk like we can, but they can be sent, or they have the autopilot responses of being present without speaking. But the moth I posted the picture. I posted it on my YouTube channel, but it is a female promethea moth. But the promethea moth is a so they are classified as a giant silk moth. Their symbolic symbolically, it's a great animal that proceeds in trusting of transformation through the metamorphic process and seeking light and darkness For example, a cloudy day. It's not raining, it's not it's not doing any, it's just cloudy. Carrying a very mind-blowing biological meaning through its physical traits through ancient Greek history. This moth was named after Greek titan Prometheus, who stole fire and gifted it to humankind. This moth embodies abilities from Greek titans that possess enlightenment, passion, and bring warmth to cold situations. The promethea moth is a historical symbol of patience, endurance, and quiet resilience through difficult phases in everyday life. It's the beacon of deep personal growth and embracing the natural cycles of change. But when I saw this animal, I was like, it could have been a juvenile lunar moth, but lunar moths are still quite cool to see because they're green, and they're another big moth. But this was a female that I saw. Now males are a smoky black color, and are females are the color I sent you guys, and the picture I took of this moth resembled, and it was a match from the moth, or from the one I researched, but female, I mean, it matched within seconds. So the picture I posted on my YouTube channel is the picture I took of the moth just a few minutes ago on my deck. But it is just truly unbelievable, because sometimes like your brain will play tricks on you, and you're just like, because I didn't know, because when I looked up brown-tailed moths, they're really small. They're, whereas this promethea moth is a silk moth. It's specifically a species of silk moth, meaning they generate silk, but also, um, but it also says here that they so it says males are dark and feathery, attend attend well, but males use Batesian mimicry, resembling the toxic pipevine swallowtail butterfly, to deter predators, and are one of the few silk moths with day flying males. They overwinter in cocoons attached to host trees like spicebush, tulip trees, and wild cherry. And adults have a short lifespan, only living 1 to 2 weeks. So more than likely, that moth will be gone within 1 to 2 weeks. So unfortunately, her life is limited. Um, man, but it says threats with habitat loss and artificial lighting pollution, or artificial light pollution, can disrupt mating. but planting native host trees and reducing outdoor lighting helps their populations. But my dad actually closes the blinds from the light to come into the house. Yep, right here 2 days ago. This is on Facebook. This was in Maine. And so that is awesome, but it's the exact moth I saw outside 2 days ago. Renee Hemingway, Maine Wildlife. But Prometheus spend the winter as cocoons dangling from a branch of either their food tree or a nearby tree or a shrub. But Calosmia promethea, commonly known as the Promethea silk moth, is a member of the Saturnidae family, which contains approximately 1,300 species. But the Promethea moth we saw was female, so and unfortunately their lifespan is not super long. And I just spotted her on the deck too. She's right there as you walk out. So yeah, I might even put her back on a tree or just let her kind of, stay there. I'm going to keep Thor away from her, but unfortunately they have a not a I mean, but it's beautiful just to see how life is forged, and like the symbols and the true power of what creation can give us through forging it, through being patient and going through the cycles of change every day, and embrace those cycles of change, because if you do, you'll be rewarded with something in return, or something will send you a message like that Promethea moth did. And again, I feel like that moth, it was definitely the best thing I saw today, because like the warmth, it describes it bring this I mean, the fact it brings you warmth to cold situations, because yesterday was a worried situation, but that moth, I feel like, is and it came today at I mean it's not I mean a lot of it is it's not so much people responding right away, because you communicate with people by communicating with them, where animals have more of that mindset of showing up when they need to show up, but really knowing what deep personal growth is. That's the thing, is you can stand alone. Eventually you can stand with somebody, but never consider yourself to fail or stumble and fall, because you will get back up. And that's huge with personal growth and embracing the natural cycles of change.